Hey everybody, and welcome back into another video. My name is Ty. Thanks for clicking on this one. Today we're going to be talking about records that are turning 40 years old this year, or have turned 40, depending on when they came out in 1986. And yeah, we got a lot of records to talk about. 1986 was an absolutely stacked year, to say the least, for metal releases, for rock releases, and all of this stuff is metal and or rock adjacent, metal adjacent stuff, and we've got a lot to talk about. So I don't want to bury the lead too much. I'm not going to go on and on about some of these albums because some of these are just massive albums, some of the biggest of all time. It was absolutely, like I said, a stacked year. So, but some of these I wanted to talk about a little bit more in depth. So let's just get into it. I'm going to start right on the top here. So we're going to go with Accept with Russian Roulette. Dropped this in 86, the band's 7th studio album, and really kind of their last one with Udo for a while. He would end up leaving the band and then coming back a number of years later. But this is kind of the last of that classic era, except that classic run through the late 70s and 80s. I really dig this record. They tried to go in a different sound than Metal Heart and make it way less polished. I think it's still pretty well produced, polished sound 80s heavy metal. Is it as poppy as Metal Heart? Probably not. There's nothing on here like Screaming for a Love Bite like that, or Midnight Mover like that poppy. But solid album nonetheless. TV War, Monster Man, the title track, really love that one. You get a 7-minute track to open up side 2, Heaven is Hell. That's a really solid track too. Just a pretty good album, top to bottom. Doesn't overstay its welcome. Really dig the album cover too. It's just a solid Accept release, and I think that one really doesn't get talked about in the discography quite a bit. So yeah, figured I'd throw that one out here. Really solid album from 86 that's turning 40. Another one that absolutely means a ton to me, AC/DC's Who Made Who. Soundtrack album basically to Maximum Overdrive, the Stephen King flick. The only movie Stephen King ever directed, probably for the better. But I love Maximum Overdrive. That movie, this album, this soundtrack is really what exposed me to horror, what exposed me to hard rock and metal and that type of stuff. And honestly, dude, like I still adore this album. I spin it all the time. I love all the tracks on here. It's mostly a compilation, but you get 3 originals. Obviously, the title track was a huge song with a huge video. And then you get instrumentals, DT and Chase the Ace, which are both great songs. It's just an absolutely stellar compilation. And then you get those extra tracks thrown in. You Shook Me All Night Long, Sink the Pink, which I love, Ride On, Hell's Bells, Shake Your Foundations, another great song from Fly on the Wall. So yeah, this is an awesome album and a foundational album for me. Still love it to this day. AC/DC's Who Made Who. And if you have never seen Maximum Overdrive, I highly suggest it. It's such a fun, corny 80s horror flick. Like, check it out if you have not seen it. Next up, not metal or hard rock or anything, but I wanted to mention it because I'm a huge fan of the band that this guy was from, and I really dig this solo album. It's his only solo album he ever did, and that's Benjamin Orr with The Lace. Dropped this in 86. Benjamin Orr from The Cars. Love The Cars. Great new wave, power pop, power punk type band. Just a really stellar, late 70s to mid 80s run that the Cars had. Then towards the end, they started having some band drama. Rick Ocasek did some solo albums. Benjamin Orr dropped this, and this is a great album. It's very much 80s synth wave, new wave pop rock. If you like that stuff, you'll dig this album. If you like the Cars and you like Heartbeat City era Cars, you'll probably dig this as well. Stay the Night, that's the big single on here. You can see the video on YouTube. And he wrote this album with his girlfriend. There's some drama there because he would bring his songs and his girlfriend's songs to Rick Ocasek when they were working on Cars albums, and Rick would never use the songs. So him and Rick had drama for a long time, and that's what kind of led to these albums. But also, Elliot Easton is on here on guitars from the Cars. So it's kind of a pseudo Cars record, and we'll talk about another one, another kind of pseudo Cars record that came out in '86 later. But yeah, Benjamin Orr's The Lace, really underrated album. I hear nobody talk about it, even Cars fans. If you like 80s synth and 80s pop and Heartbeat City era Cars, I suggest it. Next up, we'll kind of go with another kind of solo album. Basically a solo album. Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi was 7 star. Dropped this in '86. I'm a huge Glenn Hughes fan. Love the man's voice. Such a talented singer. Talented bass player as well. And yeah, Glenn Hughes singing on this was originally supposed to be... wasn't it originally supposed to be Ray Gillen on this one? And then they brought in Glenn Hughes. Or was that the follow-up? Was that Eternal Idol? I can't remember. Comment down in the comments below. It's for some reason I'm spaced. I can't remember if Ray Gillen was on this or Eternal Idol first. Regardless, I love this album. Is it Black Sabbath proper? Not really. No. This is way more of just a hard rock, bluesy album. And Glenn Hughes fits in like a glove when you're doing that type of stuff. In for the Kill, great track. I like No Stranger to Love quite a bit. Really, shows off Tony's playing and his feel and his blues chops, which he never really got to flex in Sabbath quite a bit. Obviously, Sabbath, much more riff-oriented stuff. Sphinx, The Guardian, into 7 stars. The title track's probably the most Sabbath-esque song on here. Danger Zone's a cool song. Heart Like a Wheel. This is a really cool album, man, and I understand if you're around in '86 and this dropped and you're like, what the hell is this? This sounds nothing like Black Sabbath. But in hindsight, it's a really well-made, well-produced, well-played album that is turning 40 this year. Next up, let's go with this one. Cinderella's Night Songs. Really, really good album. Their debut album from '86 as well. Sold a shit ton of copies. Obviously, Nobody's Fool, huge single on here. But I really like this album beyond that song, to be honest with you. Just really good blues-based hard rock. It's almost not even really glammy or hair metal. Like, you hear like nothing Poison in here. It's just really good blues-based rock. And that's the proper term for it. And honestly, Tom Kiefer's voice... kind of reminds me of a Brian Johnson. It's got an AC/DC-esque feel to some of the songs. Not really the music, but his voice just fits in really well with like a Bon Scott, Brian Johnson. But yeah, Nobody's Fool. Obviously, the title track's a good one. Shake Me, Once Around the Ride. Somebody Save Me is a really cool song too. Really, really stellar album that I don't hear talked about a ton. And I think it's a lot of metal fans look at this cover and go, that's not for me. But if you really like blues-based, hard rock, well-written rock songs, this is a stellar album from top to bottom. And Tom Kiefer's voice, I've always loved it. Really, really good album. Love that one. Night Songs. And again, it's kind of one that I think gets overlooked by a lot of people. Next up, we'll go with kind of American heavy metal, American power metal, maybe a little progressive metal in there. We'll go with Crimson Glory, and this is a 3-pack. But this is 3-pack that captures all 3 of their first albums. But this album is their debut that dropped in '86. And if you've never listened to Crimson Glory, think Queensryche, honestly. If you like early era Queensryche, you're going to dig Crimson Glory. And the first 2 records especially are absolutely stellar, top to bottom, must listens. But yeah, the self-titled debut from '86, Valhalla, Dragon Lady. Azrael is a really cool song too. Just a freaking stellar album, man. So check this out if you haven't listened to it. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's 38 minutes long. Midnight, the lead singer, what a talent that dude was. Stellar voice. Very much in the Jeff Tate realm, but I would honestly say it's like more character than Jeff. Just a really good voice. Super talented band, man, that I think kind of didn't get their due. I truly feel that way. And they're back doing some stuff. I really didn't like the new album quite a bit, but it is what it is. But yeah, as far as the debut goes, absolutely stellar release from 1986. We'll keep it moving here. Dark Angel, Darkness Ascends. So kind of one of those big thrash metal releases from this year. Thrash was probably maybe at its peak here. Just absolutely stellar albums all throughout the year from massive bands and seminal albums that are essential to the genre, including this one. Obviously, Gene Hoglan on drums is a monster. The playing on this, the riffing, the song structures, the production on this is very good. It's the same dude, Randy Burns, who did Peace Sells. And yeah, very kick-ass album. Essential thrash metal listening. 35 minutes. So again, doesn't overstay its length. You listen to it and then you want to spin it again. Spin it right away. Right again. All killer, no filler on the Dark Angel. Let's keep the thrash train going here. Destruction dropped Eternal Devastation, their second full-length album. And it kind of expanded the band sound a little bit. Their first full length was very much like proto black metal type stuff. But this album kind of moved them into the more contemporary thrash sound, I would say, more of like drawing from the American bands. But the German bands were on fire in 86 too. Like the amount of thrash that came out in 86 is absolutely insane. Just the amount of absolutely amazing essential albums is just stupid, how many. But again, just like Dark Angel, 35 minutes, it's absolutely essential all the way through. Curse the Gods, what a kick-ass opener. Just a stellar song. And I'm not a huge Destruction guy, but like the first 4 records are absolutely essential. And great album cover too. Absolutely love it. So yeah, there's just so much good thrash that came out that year. It's absolutely insane. Let's move it on. And again, guys, the German bands and the American bands, just absolutely across the board, killed it. It's really, because I dig scenes, I dig genres, and I love when genres and scenes explode. And to really like follow along with that kind of trend that was going on as thrash metal really blew up, and like all those bands were just doing really something special. And like like I said, the amount of absolutely essential releases we got just in this year alone is absolutely insane. But let's keep it going. Let's change it up entirely. Let's go with Europe's The Final Countdown. I really dig this album. Great Euro cheese, hard rock, glam metal. It's more good blues based kind of hard rock, kind of in the similar vein to Cinderella, filtered through a European lens. Let's just put it that way. Especially a Swedish lens as well. So it's even more cheesy. But obviously The Final Countdown is such a huge song. Rock the Night's probably my favorite song in here. And then you get the syrupy power ballad, Carrie. So the first 3 tracks are absolutely essential. But side 2 on this is really good too. Kind of an underrated album. I dig the album cover too. Just so cheesy and cool. So much fun. Let's keep it moving. Change it up a little bit. Let's go with Fate's Warning with Awaken the Guardian, released in 1986. Another essential album from this year. Heavy metal, prog metal, US power metal. yeah, I love this early era of the band with John Arch. I like the Ray Alder stuff too because I'm a big Rush and Dream Theater guy, and they leaned way more into that prog rock direction on later releases. Like I dig No Exit, the follow up, quite a bit, but this is an absolutely essential American metal album, easily up there with some of the greats, and many of which came out the same year. Yeah, the Sorceress opening, Exodus closing, great bookended album there. Guardian, 7-minute epic, really good track. Fata Morgana, love that song. This is such a good album, expertly played, expertly sung, expertly written, great production on it. Yeah, I need a copy that's not on cassette, because yeah, that's all I have. That cassette plays really nice. But yeah, I would love a CD copy, love a vinyl copy. I absolutely get no Fates Warning turned in locally at any of my stores. Absolutely none. So that kind of blows, but that's why I haven't replaced that cassette yet. But for all intents and purposes, at least I own it. It's absolutely essential. Let's keep it going. Let's go with Fastway with Trick or Treat. A great freaking movie. Couple movie tie-ins here with Who Made Who, and this one, Trick or Treat. This is the score / soundtrack to that film. If you've never seen the movie, highly essential if you're a metal fan and a horror fan. Highly essential viewing. What a great flick Trick or Treat is. This album, though, is absolutely stellar. Great hard rock, heavy metal from the mid-'80s, Fastway. So you got Eddie Clark on there. Great player. Yeah, this is a kick-ass album for a kick-ass movie. And this is an OG pressing that I found in Vegas a few months ago. So I was absolutely stoked to find this because it's pretty expensive, and even the reissues have shot up in price because it is such a cult film. So yeah, but 33 minutes of great, awesome hard rock, heavy metal from the mid-'80s. Highly recommend that one if you have not listened to it or you have not watched the film. Let's keep it moving. Let's go into the pop realm. Pretty controversial album here. An album that I think a lot of people dislike, but obviously a shit ton of people love. I'm in the camp of loving it, and that's Genesis with Invisible Touch. Is it anything like the 70s stuff? Absolutely not. Their 70s stuff, prog, rock, royalty, masterpieces. This, however, is pop royalty and pop masterpiece. Just an absolutely stellar album, top to bottom, such massive songs. There's 5 massive singles on this record, which is absolutely insane. Half the record is a single. Tons of music videos. Obviously, Land of Confusion was the big video that came out for this. I love that video. I love the animation on it. Really, really cool. But yeah, I mean, Invisible Touch, the title track. I get it. It's syrupy, poppy. It's very much like a Phil Collins solo song. I love it. Tonight, awesome freaking song. Land of Confusion, great. In Too Deep, another syrupy kind of Collins ballad, but I love it. Domino is kind of your prog rock song on here. It's 10 minutes, 2 parts, really good track. Throwing It All Away. Love that song. I love this album, top to bottom. I understand why it does get flack from people, especially old school Genesis fans, but I don't care. I love pop music too, and I love when great musicians do great pop albums, and that's what this is. It is an absolutely essential pop album from '86. If you have any passing interest in '80s pop, that's well worth a listen. Keep it moving here. Let's go with probably the greatest Queensryche album that they didn't release. That's Heir Apparent with Graceful Inheritance, their debut album from the year. And this album is super good. Like I said, they are from the Seattle area. So if you are into Queensryche, you will dig this album. It sounds like a long lost Queensryche album, especially those first few Queensryche records. I would honestly put it up there with them. And this is kind of a new discovery for me. I think Heavy Metallurgy did a Album Club weekly review on this. Absolutely great album. Highly suggest it. Like I said, if you are into early era Queensryche, this is essential for you. Great playing, awesome vocal work, good production. Just essential listening from 86, man. So many good albums came out that year, as we're discussing. One I won't spend too much time on, Iron Maiden, Somewhere in Time. Absolutely stellar top to bottom. I think Maiden really did their transitions into their different eras really well. They introduced the guitar synths and stuff like that into this era, but they didn't overdo it, and which we'll talk about soon. But yeah, I think they never really jumped the shark ever on their releases. You can like certain eras and certain albums more than others, but I would never accuse them of trend chasing or doing something not true to themselves. And yeah, absolutely stellar album. A lot of people's favorite Maiden album, not mine. Definitely in the top 5 for me. I think I put it in my top 5 in my ranking. I did that quite a bit ago. You can check that out here on the channel. But yeah, absolutely essential. Obviously, had to mention it. Not gonna spend too much time on it. An album that gets overlooked in this band's discography, but I absolutely love, Journey's Raised on Radio. Very much like a Steve Perry solo album. They kicked out Ross Valerie. They kicked out Steve Smith, and Steve produced it. I really like this album, though, because it kind of combines their AOR stuff with Motown and R&B and soul, which is what Steve grew up on. So yeah, I dig it if old school Journey fans don't like this. But I think Steve Perry sounds absolutely excellent on this. Neil Schon is such a talented guitar player. Even on these types of songs, he can still find ways to accent them and make them shine. Jonathan Cain, an excellent songwriter. So yeah, you get some great, just massively catchy pop songs on here. Girl Can't Help It, Be Good to Yourself. Suzanne, I love Suzanne. Such a fun poppy song. I'll Be All Right Without You. Yeah, and a lot of those songs they still play live to this day, which I find funny because, you know, Steve hasn't been in the band in 30 years. This is basically a Steve Perry solo album, but yeah, just a good album, and I think it gets overlooked. I truly do. It's underappreciated, underrated. Is it Escape? Is it Frontiers? Is it Infinity or Evolution? No, it's not. It's a totally different beast, but I appreciate it for what it is. So I was alluding to bands kind of jumping the shark when I was talking about Maiden, and this is a band that kind of did it then. Judas Priest with Turbo. I don't hate Turbo. I think it's a really uneven album. And I think Judas Priest was 100% trend chasing here. They wanted some of that mid-'80s hair metal money. They did. They wanted the big MTV airplay. They wanted those big radio hits. They absolutely did with this album. You can't tell me any different. The writing process on here, Rob has talked about it. Like, he was so deep into his drugs and alcohol. Like, you know, his lyrics and stuff isn't the best that Rob could do on this album. The title track is obviously the iconic song on here, which I dig because I'm a big synth guy. I love synth. I love synth wave. I love new wave stuff. So I like this album enough. Is it my favorite Judas Priest? Not even close. Is it my most hated? Definitely not. I think it's way better than Nostradamus. Out in the Cold basically trounces any song on Nostradamus. So that makes this essential just for Out in the Cold alone. But yeah, we got Turbo in 86. Again, perhaps jumping the shark there. But 2 albums later, they absolutely nailed it again. So it didn't take them long to get back going. We also got this one, another absolutely essential one, Fatal Portrait, the debut studio album from King Diamond. Basically kind of the third Merciful Fate album. It essentially is like this. If you had Merciful Fate on here, yeah, it's like, okay, this is a follow-up to the first 2 Merciful Fates, and it makes sense. But a great album. Obviously, Halloween, what a great song that is. Lurgan in the Dark. The side 2 is really solid on this. The closer, Haunted, is really good. Man, Dressed in White, The Portrait, the whole album, absolutely essential. King sounds amazing, great production. Andy the Rock would come in, and that pairing of Andy and King would obviously be legendary. Great playing, great production, absolutely essential. From 86, spawned so many bands and had such a big influence on everybody, including the first two Merciful Fates as well. Let's move it on here. Let's go with this one, another German thrash metal titan, Kreator with Pleasure to Kill. I mean, what an absolutely stellar album. Most extreme metal owes a ton to this album. And one thing I like about the German bands, like we talked about with Destruction, is it's very raw, especially their early stuff. And you basically watch these bands grow up. By the time we know Metallica dropped Kill 'Em All, like they're a polished band. You could see like these dudes have chops. Same thing with Megadeth, same thing with Slayer, a lot of the American bands. Death Angel was very young, but all the German bands were also very young, but very, very raw. And like their influence on extreme metal and the second wave of black metal is obviously huge, and their influence on death metal as well. And this record has no shortage of influence, but it's absolutely essential listening all the way through. Ripping Corpse might be my favorite song on here. The title track is absolutely stellar as well. Under the Guillotine, love that closer. Just an absolutely stellar release. It's essential listening if you're into any type of thrash or you want to get into German thrash metal. Start there. Kreator's not my favorite band out of those bands. Sodom would be, which we'll talk about soon, but still absolutely essential. Let's keep it going. Another fun one here. Yngwie Malmsteen released Trilogy in 86. I like this album. This is his third album. I like the first two a little bit more because I am a big Jeff Scott Soto fan who does lead vocals on the first two Yngwie albums. Mark Bowles handles vocals on this, who's a great singer in his own right. I am just a huge Jeff Scott Soto fan. So I like that dude's voice. I think he's an awesome dude. I've watched a ton of interviews with him. I saw him when he was with Journey as well for that brief stint he was, and was just always impressed with that guy since then, basically like 20 years ago. And I dig his work with Yngwie. Mark Bowles is a very good singer. This album is a lot of fun. It's not just like shredding neoclassical stuff. It's very much a typical 80s metal album, leaning into kind of early like European power metal, I guess. Definitely some glam metal moments in here. You Don't Remember, I'll Never Forget's a good song. Queen in Love's a really solid one. Magic Mirror, really dig that one. The Closure Trilogy, sweet. The instrumental, really Yngwie shows off his chops there. And just an absolutely stellar album cover too. Look at that thing. Awesome. I'm not a huge Yngwie fan, but those like first four albums, up until Odyssey, really, really good. Moving on to a band that I'm just now like really diving into and loving in the last month and a half since I was on Heavy Metallurgy, and that's Manila Road. They dropped The Deluge in 86, their fifth studio album. Really like this album. I haven't spent a ton of time with it because admittedly I haven't spent a ton of time with a lot of Manila Road. I'm so new to the band, but I really dig this, man. Really underrated American heavy metal. Mark Shelton's lead vocals on basically every Manila Road album I've listened to so far. That dude was such a character. His voice is just a hook and within itself. Dementia on here is a really, really good opener. The title tracks are really cool. 8-minute epic. Hammer of the Witches is a cool song. Shadow and Black. A lot of cool tracks on here. It's only 38 minutes, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. And what a great freaking album cover. And I'm kind of getting the underratedness of Manila Road and like how good they really were, especially for like American metal at that time, because I really don't put them in that power metal, the American power metal type stuff, like Queensryche or Crimson Glory or some of the bands we've talked about earlier. They're kind of their own thing, almost like a new wave of British heavy metal band filtered through an American lens. Which is super strange, especially for 86, because the American bands, you were either doing like thrash or proggy stuff like a Queensryche, or you were doing glam, like some of the poppiest stuff you could possibly do under the metal banner. But Manila Road definitely stands out as an oddity, and that's a cool album. I really dig it. Megadeth, Peace Sells, not going to spend a ton of time on it. Absolutely essential, obviously. Thrash metal listening. Came out in 86. One of the many great thrash metal albums that came out in 86. Metal Church dropped The Dark this year. Second full-length album by them. I really like this album. Like the first 3 Metal Church albums, I really dig. David Wayne's vocals, like, reminds me so much of Rob Halford. Like, Metal Church kind of gets lumped into that thrash metal realm because of their links with Metallica, and because they were on Elektra as well, label mates with Metallica. But I really think of them as like an Americanized Judas Priest. Like, I put them way more in the American power metal realm, and just like, this is like a Judas Priest album filtered through an American lens. That's what this sounds like to me. Really good playing, great production on this. Absolutely love it. Yeah, Watch the Children Pray. Absolutely love that song. Stellar. Ton of bricks. Start the Fire. Method to Your Madness. Really, side 1 is really stellar. Side 2 kind of falls off. It's kind of like a tale of two halves here. Great album. Great album cover. Essential album from 86. Metallica, speaking of them, Master of Puppets, of course, dropped in 86. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on these ones. Nothing really I need to say about that hasn't already been said. Kind of a weird one in the discography of this band, Motorhead's Orgasmatron. Just stands out when production, songwriting, lyrics. It's just kind of an oddity in the Motorhead discography, because Motorhead, for better or for worse, like a Motorhead albums sound like Motorhead. You get what you get. And this one is definitely probably their most experimental album. They're a 4-piece as well. It's the first album as a 4-piece, so it stands out in that regard. You got 2 guitar players. I really like this. I really like the title track. Deaf Forever is a really cool song too. The opener, just kind of a fun album built for speed. Riding with the Driver, really cool. Great album cover as well. Yeah, man, in 86, Motorhead was down. They had to basically self-release this. And, they got released from Bronze, which is better for that was a bad deal for them anyway, so it's kind of a blessing in disguise. But they couldn't get signed. Nobody wanted to touch this. So they had to put it out themselves, and it's just such an interesting album. Highly recommended if you want something kind of different in the Motorhead discography. An album that gets overlooked, Ozzy Osbourne's The Ultimate Sin. What a great album. I love the album cover, obviously. Ozzy hated this album. Never liked the production on it. I dig it. It's mid-80s sheen to a T. It's his glam metal era. But The Ultimate Sin, great song. Secret Loser, Thank God for the Bomb. Killer of Giants, love that one. And then Shot in the Dark, one of my all-time favorite Ozzy songs. This is a good bookended album too. Ultimate Sin and Shot in the Dark, 2 stellar tracks. But yeah, this is kind of an overlooked album in the Ozzy discography. I'm a huge Jakey Lee fan as well. I love his playing on this, and yeah, I get it. It's the more glamified Ozzy, but I absolutely love it. Stellar. Another album, not metal at all, but Peter Gabriel's So, his 5th studio album, massive album. It's kind of interesting. We got Genesis with Invisible Touch, and then we got Peter with So, 2 just absolutely massive pop albums. This is way more experimental than Invisible Touch, I would say, because Peter still brings a lot of the world music into his stuff. He always did. This is nothing like his first 4 albums, though. This is very much like a play towards radio and MTV. And it worked. I mean, obviously, Sledgehammer, In Your Eyes, Big Time, just massive songs. Red Rain. I love Red Rain. Absolutely stellar song. Don't Give Up. Love that song too. One of my favorite musicians of all time, Peter Gabriel. One of my, probably a top, maybe not top 10, but a top 20 album for me is So. I absolutely adore this album. Top to bottom, it's a must listen. Great 80s pop record with some prog-ish sensibilities, world music, that type of stuff. Another great prog album. If you consider So prog. Its progginess is his introduction into like art pop and all the different world music and African instruments and stuff that he brings into his music. That's the progressiveness of that album, I would say. Not like 70s Genesis proggy. But this is definitely a prog album. Maybe the band's proggiest album, Queensryche's Rage for Order, their second studio album. Really sounds nothing like the debut. I love the debut, and I love the EP, but this is in a totally, totally different direction. Production, image-wise, songwriting-wise, it's kind of a weird album. It's kind of off-kilter with the production, and the song order and stuff like that. I know a lot of people love this album. It's a lot of people's favorite Queensryche record. I like it quite a bit. It's my favorite. No, it's definitely in my top 3 or 4, though. Walk in the Shadows, I Dream in Infrared. Man, Surgical Strike is a great song, too. London, I really like London. Might be my favorite song on here. Screaming in Digital, I Will Remember. Great track. The cover, Gonna Get Close to You. That's the weird one on here for sure. It kind of doesn't fit in. It's kind of a strange song. The video is absolutely weird as shit, too. Cool album, though. Definitely showed that this band had serious chops and the ability to do something bigger than just like a traditional heavy metal album. And they were going to appeal massively to a lot of people fairly soon because they had the chops to do so and had the production abilities and the oomph behind them, I should say. And I think this record kind of shows that. But yeah, I like Rage for Order quite a bit. I think it is essential listening from 86. We got Ramones. The Animal Boy. Really, really cool album. I love the Ramones. One of the greatest American rock bands ever. Easily, they're a top 10 American rock band for me. Somebody Put Something in My Drink. Awesome freaking song. You Get My Brain is Hanging Upside Down. Bonzo Goes to Bitburg. That's probably the biggest song on here. Also Something to Believe in. Just a great album. It's the Ramones. You know what you're getting. Like I said, very much kind of like Motorhead. You know what you're getting into here. I love their 80s output, though. I think they were firing on all cylinders, especially this album, Brain Drain as well. Just a solid release from the Ramones. If you've never really listened to their kind of mid to late 80s output, I highly suggest it. Keeping it moving. Rat with Dancing Undercover. Kind of an overlooked Rat album, but I really dig this album. It's just solid playing, and I've always loved the blues rockiness nature of them. I've always loved Stephen Pearcy's voice, kind of like Tom Kiefer of Cinderella, like we talked about before. It's got that gruffness and that character to his voice. Robin Crosby, Warren DeMartini, love their playing. Bobby Blotzer, Juan Crochet, just great musicians, man. Great musicians. Dance on here. The opener's a really good opening track. Body Talk, I love that song. This is a really solid album. Is it the debut? Is it the EP? No, but it's still really, really good and one that I don't hear talked about a lot. Highly suggest it. This kind of goes with it does go with the Benjamin Orr album. Rick Ocasek from the Cars dropped this album, This Side of Paradise. Probably his biggest solo album. I would say he had a #1 hit on this album with the single Emotion in Motion, which is a really cool song. This is basically a Long Lost Cars album. Greg Hawkes is on here. Elliot Easton's on here. Benjamin Orr even does some backup vocals on here. So this is basically a Cars album. If you like Heartbeat City era Cars, you will dig this album. Highly suggest it if you're a fan of the Cars and you've never dove into any solo stuff. Kind of bittersweet though, because I think if you combine this with Benjamin Orr's The Lace, I think you have a absolutely stellar follow-up to Heartbeat City. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. And, we got solo albums, and then we got Door to Door, which is not my favorite Cars album by any stretch of the imagination. So I think if you combine these two solo albums that came out this year from these guys, you have a really good Cars album. But this one's solid. If you like 80s new wave, 80s pop, highly suggested. If you like the Cars, definitely check it out if you've never listened to it. Let's keep it going here. Slayer, Rain and Blood, obviously one of the most essential metal albums of all time. One of the most essential albums of all time. Even if you don't dig thrash, if you dig metal, like, you have to listen to Rain and Blood. Just absolutely stellar album. More great thrash. Sepultura with Morbid Visions. They were babies when they released this album. This is raw. This is dark. This is sloppy. Much in the vein of like Venom and like Hellhammer, early Celtic Frost stuff. It's so good because it's so earnest, and much like the German bands, like, you got to follow along with this band's trajectory into becoming really accomplished players and great musicians. And that's really cool because, like I said, a lot of bands, they're road dogs. They tour so much. They're out there. They're playing their songs. By the time they release that debut, like, they're pretty polished musicians. Like I said, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, like, they had been around for so much and done so many shows before those debuts even came out. Like, they were almost known commodities to a lot of people, especially within that scene. And they were such good players with good chops. Here, this could easily be just a weird kind of oddity one-off. But instead, they kept going. They kept learning English. They barely spoke English when they released this album. They barely knew how to play. And then to only a few short years later, release Beneath the Remains and Arise. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, absolutely ridiculous, that trajectory. And not my favorite Sepultura, but it's easy to see, like, why this and the early German stuff had such a big influence on extreme metal, and especially that early second wave of black metal stuff. Like, just, yeah, absolutely essential in that regard. Almost done here. Just a couple more. Sodoms, Obsessed by Cruelty. Such a weird album because they recorded it twice. They recorded it once, and then the label didn't like it, but they released it in the US and Europe, I believe. Or the US and somewhere else. And then they did another version that they released for Europe. Which is just absolutely insane. I have this, and I have a CD copy, which combines this with In the Sign of Evil. But I only have the American versions. This and my CD copy are the American versions. I've actually never even heard the European versions. This isn't even on streaming. Very much like Sepultura, which we were just talking about. This is raw, dirty, brutal thrash. And they were learning. And you could definitely see the influence on black metal. Obviously, Death Like Silence is on here. Euronymous, took that name and for his label. And you could see the early influence on Mayhem, especially like that, like I said, that early second wave of black metal. This is all over it. They owe a ton to this album, obviously, and Kreator as well, Destruction as well, bands we've talked about today. And yeah, I already dig this. I like my CD copy too, probably a little bit more. This tape has been played to death. Like, it has like poop or like coffee on it. I don't know. But it plays. It's just, it doesn't sound great, but this album's not supposed to sound great anyway. Like, the production on it is so nasty and raw. But it has so much charm, man. There's so much charm. And like I said, I really, really dig, like, knowing that, like, Sodom's still around today. They still release awesome fucking albums. And They're such talented musicians now. So to see like the genesis of it is really, really cool. So like I said, a lot of bands, by the time they release that debut, they've been touring so much and playing those songs so much and polishing them. That's why a lot of debuts are massive and some bands' best albums in their discography, because they have their entire life to write those albums. And to like these early German bands and Sepultura, like they're so young, they didn't have that time. And their scenes are basically just starting. Like they are the scenes. So there wasn't a ton of touring. And it's really, really cool just to see them so raw and so brutally honest. And they're a massive influence on so many bands. And yeah, I dig that album quite a bit. Let's end this with a banger, for me anyway, Van Halen's 5150, the first album with Sammy Hagar on it. I'm a huge Sammy Hagar fan. I think that dude's awesome. Saw him live a couple years ago when they were doing their best of all world set, playing a ton of Van Halen tunes, his era Van Halen tunes. Him and Michael Anthony, Joe Satriani, and Jason Bonham on drums. So stellar lineup. And people were just throwing stuff on stage for Sammy to sign. And he was just signing stuff all night, throwing it back. Still sounds amazing. I love Sammy Hagar. I love Sammy Hagar Van Halen. I love David Lee Roth Van Halen. I think they're very two distinct different things. This album, though, is absolutely stellar from top to bottom. It's easily a top 2 or 3 Van Halen album for me. Back in the day when Tyler and I did the ranking, I think it was a top 2 album for me. Dreams, one of my favorite songs of all time. Absolutely love that song. I've loved it ever since I saw the Power Rangers movie. Like, that song is in the credits, and like I fell in love with this song. I don't know why it's in the credits, because that movie came out like 94. This album came out in 86. So 8 years later, they're using that song. It's not like it was a relevant song at the time. But yeah, I love this record. I think if we lived in a different world where Ted Templeman actually produced this, I think the more traditional Van Halen fans might look at it differently, because I think it would have a different sound. And I think it would have more of that traditional David Lee Roth era sound, but I dig the production on it, man. It's just great, good, hard rock, pop rock stuff. And Sammy is such a talented songwriter. Like, the pairing of him and Eddie was magic to me. And yeah, just a great album, man. Massive singles. Why Can't This Be Love? Dreams, obviously. Love Walks In. Best of Both Worlds. Great album. Absolutely adore it. I love the Sammy era. Like I said, I love the Dave era too. But anyways, guys, that's 86, man. That was a long, long video. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun doing it and talking about some of these albums. Obviously, some massive, massive albums. And I ran through a lot of stuff, but I'm sure there's stuff that I forgot about or I don't have. So leave some comments down below. What are some of your favorite albums from 1986 that are turning 40 years old this year? Let me know. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you want more videos. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Peace.